Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. It is no wonder the Scottish education system is in as parlously bad a state as it is. Teachers are leaving the profession in numbers hitherto unseen, and so very few are choosing to join and become teachers, or at least not in Scotland. Many are doing the training but moving straight south to England. And it's not hard to see why. 17 years of education policy from the SNP have resulted in the fact that it's almost impossible for head teachers to exclude disruptive pupils, regardless of how badly they've behaved or even how awful some of the things they've done truly are. You have teachers walking into classes after being sexually assaulted and finding the person who's done that is still sitting there. It's no wonder that they are leaving. And of course, this is nothing to do with Westminster. This is purely devolved. It is the Scottish Government, it is the SNP government that has caused this. With the physicality and the rise, and then people are just saying enough is enough and they're going. And of course, it's all the good teachers that are going. The bad ones are desperate for a job and they are the ones that stay. Let's have a look at this and see why your children and grandchildren are being failed by this SNP government. Here goes. So, teachers quitting Scots classrooms in record numbers amid a rise in classroom physicality. Scotland's largest teaching union, the EIS, is citing classroom physicality among causes of dropping numbers. And I remember that, blimey. Yeah. Identities. Yeah. Trigonometric identities, if I cast my mind back. Anyway, more than 1,300 teachers in Scotland have quit within 5 years of starting work. And rising classroom physicality has been partly blamed for the exodus. Willie Rennie, the Scottish Lib Dems education spokesman, said, with industrial disputes becoming a regular occurrence and reports of physicality in classrooms, I can understand why teaching is not as an attractive a career as once it was. Well, no, I mean, the trouble you've got is, you get these kids, and some of them are quite big, and they come in and they will hit, bang, do, touch against teachers. And the teacher can play to the headmaster, and the headmaster says, look, there's nothing I can do. I can't put this guy out. I can't put this kid out of the school. I'm not allowed. It's got to go up to this, that, and the other. And if he does try it, then the parents have the right to try and take you to court and sue the local authority. And then what? You're sending a message that this is okay, that you're not going to get any kind of punishment for doing it. It's ridiculous, isn't it? The Scottish Daily Record has highlighted incidences of teachers coming under attack, and the unions want the Scottish Government to take action. I would say this. Whenever an occurrence like this happens, the teacher goes to the headmaster and demands the headmaster deals with it by ejecting that pupil from the school. The headmaster will then say no, because he's not allowed to. Then every teacher in the school picks up their coats and walks out. And so they are not returning until that child is removed. And then they win. Literally, that's how it happens. They win. Anyway, now Scotland's largest teaching union, the EIS, is citing this physicality among the causes of dropping numbers. And of course, they are many. The education authority is few. The teachers will win. This is one of those where I'm on the teacher's side, because nobody should be subjected to this, regardless of who's doing it. A Lib Dems Freedom of Information request shows that since 2018, 1,337 new teachers have quit within 5 years. And it follows data from 2022-23, when only 1,506 students applied for secondary teaching qualifications, against a target of 2,336. It's only about, 2/3 of the places taken up. Rennie added, those who've completed their probation aren't being offered stable contracts, with many turning to casual work or supply lists instead. Teachers who are just starting out on their careers are feeling demoralised, disillusioned and disincentivised. Now, of course, that is another thing. They're not giving them permanent contracts. So if you've done all this, you've done your training, you've got your degree, you've gone and done your teacher training, you've got your teacher qualification, your certificate there for teaching. You've come out and you go, right, I'm ready to go into a school and teach. They go, oh, well, we can only give you a temporary contract. I'll go south to England, thanks, where I can get a full contract. And also, in England, if a kid hits you, the kid's out, can't say you blame them. You literally could. If you'd spent all that time, effort and money getting those qualifications and they say, well, we're not going to give you a full-time job, what are you going to do? Anyway, the EIS has called on the Scottish Government and local authorities to commit to making teachers' pay attractive so graduates see teaching as a viable career option. Its own figures confirm teacher numbers have declined, despite a pledge from the Scottish Government to recruit 3,500 additional teachers during this Parliament. Well, unless you're paying them, that's not going to happen. And unless you can get the rules changed so that disruptive and abusive pupils can be ejected forthwith, punt up the posterior onto the pavement, pronto, then it isn't going to happen, is it? The EIS General Secretary, Andrea Bradley, said Scotland needs more teachers. The persistent poverty-related attainment gap, the growing number of young people facing mental health challenges, the year-on-year increase in young people with additional support needs, together with the rise in aggressive physicality behaviours in our school, all require additional teaching staff in our classrooms if they are to be addressed successfully. A Scottish Government spokeswoman insisted pupil-teacher ratios across the country were at near record levels. Education Secretary Jenny... That's not the point. The point is, if there's no discipline, it doesn't matter the number of pupils if you haven't got the discipline, does it? Anyway, Education Secretary Jenny Gilruth is understood to have discussed teacher recruitment with COSLA, and it is councils who employ teachers and not the government directly. Although it is the government, of course, who have massively underfunded councils again this year, freezing the pay, the council tax rise, and then only giving them 130 to 140 million between all the councils. They've got statutory duties that they have to perform. There's no money left for teaching. But of course the government don't want to deal with this problem because it's too hard. They've got this big $1.5 billion gap, £2 billion gap that they've made because they've wanked all the money away on independent stuff rather than putting it where it's needed. And so, yeah, councils don't have the money to hire teachers. So all the BS that Jenny Gilruth is saying about, oh, we're going to increase teacher numbers, unless it's backed up with hard cash, it's just not going ever to happen, is it? And so there you have the problem. It is a circle of problems because it's just going to get worse and worse. Fewer and fewer teachers. The school system gets worse. It's even harder to attract teachers. The school system gets worse until eventually it just collapses. And there is no education policy in Scotland because there's no education. Although ultimately, of course, I think that is the final desired phase of the SNP. They can have an entire generation of ignorant, uneducated, stupid people. Then maybe their lies will be believed and no one will ever question them. Because the last thing you want is an educated workforce capable of seeing through your lies and bullshit. Anyway, I shall round off there. No, I shan't round off there. I shall come up and then we'll round off. But it is a very sad reflection that a whole generation of pupils are being failed simply because of the education policy, deliberate education policy of the SNP. Coming up. So what's the solution? Well, I think it's quite easy. Get rid of the SNP and put in a government that isn't going to waste millions on independence causes and will instead inject the money into the places it needs to go, into health, into education and into social care. They're the big three. After that, you still should have some money left over. If you're not wasting it everywhere and you shrink the government, you can get rid of all the foreign embassies and all the money that involves. And the whole independence department, that can go. Money to be saved everywhere. Money that can be used better. Certainly, you need to change the rules and allow headmasters or head teachers, should I say, to kick out the troublesome kids. Sure, let's have approved schools. Let's put all the troublemakers into one big school. Let nature take its course. I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Until next time, stay safe, stay well, and I shall speak to you later. Bye.